That was stupid. It ain't gonna draw a dime.
I feel like in a way, Tennille Dashwood kind of has that 1,000-yard stare, like she's dead inside, look in her eyes at all times, whether she's supposed to be excited in a promo, whether she's out of character on her cooking show, whether on anything. I don't get any kind of fucking jump off the screen charisma when she starts talking in any kind of character, any kind of thing. Some people can't do it, I feel like, and she's a case of that. She's all look and no substance, even though that maybe sound a little harsh.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There's something there that's also not, I mean, not to use the term whatever, but something just not entertaining in that aspect because of that.
She's not Eva Marie, for Christ's sakes, but, you know, like, yeah.
Even she was more intriguing, I think.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I didn't hate that fucking gimmick they gave her before she got fired for Adderall.
No, it was drawing heat, which was... Who cares what the fuck they're doing if people are, like, booing?
Who cares what they're doing if people are booing? You can run over people with a car. Yeah, you can run over people with a car in WWE storyline. You get semi-main event on a pay-per-view.
That's so true.
And you'll go over.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to even guess what they're gonna ever do.
It's hard to guess what I'm gonna do because the red button's been pushed for a little bit, but Drew, it's good to be back on another laid back episode this time. And never Drew a dime. It's late. It's chilling. Clash of Champions post show. Welcome, my friend.
Wolf. Thanks, man. It's been a little while, but let's just say this is the first of something we'll call quite often.
Dude, I gotta tell you, it's always a pleasure to be back. Sometimes, though, when the source material is kind of mediocre or lackluster going in, I don't want to say it brings the show down, but I have faith with you. We can turn chicken salad into chicken shit, huh?
We're fans. What can you say?
Oh, everyone should be a fan of Jerry Jarrett.
Yeah. Just not to go off too far on the side note, but the more I always heard, it kind of started as like, you know, like that as a joke, but you always knew he was like at the beginning of TNA and like he had his past and everything. But I guess like the more and more I hear about it, how much of like a you know, a low key genius he was as far as booking went.
Yeah, and it's just a case of where you're from too. Like that area, that accent, and that style, that Southern Belle drawl, all that stuff. I feel like that's very commonplace. Like I'm sure I pronounce shit a little differently than other people or different parts of the world. Lo and behold, God forbid, imagine that, you know. But I just feel like the way he's like caricature of himself, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It would there's probably a few podcasts out there like shoots with him that I feel like I'll dig into in the near future, and then maybe we can have a little discussion on Mr. Jarrett
And Jeff.
Well, yeah.
Christine? I don't know
Jeff
anything about Christine. Apparently, his mom and his wife was like the main booker and like hired Cornette for like his first gig and all that shit. I know nothing. I know nothing about Christine Jarrett though. It's jack shit.
I didn't know anything about any of that, so it's more to dig into. Apparently.
Yeah. I didn't know a lot about this pay-per-view because, like you, man, I kind of watched this the first and mid part of the show kind of sporadically. I was kind of in and out doing family shit for a little bit. Some stuff just flat out didn't interest me, so I got something to eat, blah, blah, blah. But the later half of the show, we both call it for the most part. Clash Champions, not one of the best pay-per-views of the year. September pay-per-views usually aren't true. Football's back. That's always a factor, stuff like that. It's just coming down from your SummerSlam, your second biggest show of the year. This is always a transitional show, like we're saying off air, into bigger shows in the fall season with Hell in the Cells and Survivor Series.
Yeah. It's funny, like here recently, like you said, I just feel like I'm currently out of the loop. Raw and SmackDown, I've been catching highlights and recently just really listening to podcasts and reviews after the show's over, and then going back and catching anything if it seems like it's really like must see.
Yeah.
Line-wise, I mean, they always give you a little preview package and everything, but I feel like my investment in a lot of the matches wasn't quite there, only because of my lack of, giving it a chance due to not seeing a lot of it. So it was an uphill battle already, for my opinion, I think, in this show, and there's nothing to hate by any means, but, it was, WWE has its ups and downs these days, and this is just part of the roller coaster.
And sometimes on the shitty end of that, when you kind of, and I'm like you, I take my little breaks from especially the main roster programming. When you do that and you just kind of poke your head in and you see the New Day in a tag team title match, it's just like, okay, then you're just kind of on cruise control. But even though that was a good match tonight, we'll get there and talk about it a little bit, but I get that totally, because Randy Orton in a WWE title match again, it's just some things never change, even though, I don't know, I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you on that end of it. There's just, and another thing, honestly, in 2019, everything is happening so fast in the pro wrestling world. It's just, look where we were at a year ago, just with All In was a one-off. It was a big all-stars of indie wrestling super event, right?
Right.
Look where we're at now. WCW is back.
Yeah. And that kind of crazy. Like it's I guess something we've all been talking about for years going in. Like, it's always been the main excuse of anything is if they just had some competition that wasn't like TNA or Ring of Honor or something that would actually stand up, which we still don't know if that's going to be legit yet, but I think this is the closest it has been. So with that said, it'll be interesting to see I feel like WWE is still just kind of doing their thing, which is fine, but how the counteraction will be once stuff starts falling into place. And I don't know, I'm just really happy that right now there's so much unexpected and so much new stuff, even the NWA getting added into that. So much, I mean, look at this now. We'll have WWE, AEW, NWA, Ring of Honor, and Impact as like that many what I would call major promotions active all at once with TV. Like this is going to get crazy one way or another.
It's like back in the territory days, and there are a million goddamn territories. It's like that, but everyone had a national deal. Yep.
Yeah, it's just going to be more wrestling. And just real quick to say this, just like as somebody, a fellow wrestling fan, obsessive as yourself, like I have been in my life, who would have ever thought out of all the genres of sports and TV shows and just pop culture things in this life that come and go and just die horrible deaths because people lose interests, like games or toys or anything, and one of the surviving things that always seems to thrive and maintain and always be there is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
From your Power Rangers, your Transformers, your Ninja Turtles, your Strawberry Shortcakes, your Rainbow Brights, all that stuff. Everything comes and goes, runs a course. But the timelessness of pro wrestling, because pro wrestling, for the most part, never moves backwards. It always evolves. It always adapts, because it's like a sport, just like baseball and football in America are kind of timeless. Soccer in Europe, the real football, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of on that because it's presented as technically a sport, I feel like. So that's always this ambiance and just this, it always kind of has that feel to it in a way, just in the presentation alone. And I think that's a big factor, especially back in the 70s and the early 80s, what made it feel more legitimate and hooked people in. And that, what other thing besides certain, you could say certain albums, yes, music is something that's universal, right? But everyone kind of is in their own camps with music at the end of the day. Fair to say, Drew.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's the same. Yeah, for a lot of things, which it comes down to also wrestling, which that brings up another valid point where it's going to be interesting to see two things now. One, you have your group of wrestling fans that are already into it and already watch every week, and for the longest time now, it's been pretty much like, obviously you watch WWE, yeah, you're a wrestling person, okay, and then maybe a couple other of the smaller ones. Now, with these companies growing and coming up and everything, one, are we going to have fans that are like split? Like back in the day, I remember, having friends that watched WCW and they didn't watch WWF, or the other way around. Are you going to have that split? And also, are you going to bring in a bunch of fans that either haven't watched in a long time or have never watched and are going to bring in a whole new audience, which
Yeah.
is just going to make the entire population of this whole thing just its own like social experiment. All of its, it's going to be crazy.
Some people scoff when they see like children at edgier indie show, like you see kids at a Progress show, or yeah, hell, sometimes you go back and I promise you, sometimes you'll see a child at ECW. I swear to God, or a little Asian kid at FMW, something like that. I love seeing stuff like that because I was one of those kids where I loved everything. If it was wrestling, I never picked a side,
Yeah, my parents would have taken me if I would have, known to be able to go. It was a thing, and yeah, I would have been allowed to go as a child. Like I went to concerts and stuff, let alone like, just some wrestling. Why not?
But with that campy, I have my clique, your clique with like a music genre type thing. Like you would never catch me at certain styles of music concert ever. Just like you, just like any human being. There's shit you don't like.
Sure.
That's just music. With wrestling, it brings everyone together. Go back. Cornette said it on his podcast, guys. If you get a chance, look at the crowds in like Mid-South in the 80s. There's old white men who probably frowned upon minorities sitting next to black men and both cheering and high-fiving if their favorites won. It just brought people together so much. And I feel like that is still there because one thing I definitely noticed, I caught myself, dude, especially with AEW shows lately, this wasn't a sea of guys you'd catch at a con or StarCast, stuff like that. Like it's not a sea of you and me out there. I saw so many families tonight in this crowd on all these brawls and these matches and the kids, and they were all having a great time. And certain parts of the show were still got pretty loud. Like when The Fiend came out, it sounded like it was an AEW show. It was a very male sounding pop, but it was the loudest pop of the night.
I think that's one thing that the whole, especially WWE, is teaching us right now in the crowd is that the fans are still watching and they will still pop very loudly for the stuff that they really like. It's just that stuff is happening fewer and farther between at this point. So when you get that huge pop of The Fiend, and it was like, that thing was the biggest pop of the night or whatever, it's mainly because, what else popped throughout this show that was even on the remote level of that.
But that goes back on the other end too, where because there's so much wrestling now, there was some stuff on the show. I feel like we said earlier, there's been so many good shows coming out from all kinds of companies lately. Like that SmackDown Tag Team title match, I thought was a lot better than people were giving it credit for, and I feel like the crowd kind of fell flat a little bit on it. Just the react. I feel like it was like any other time where people weren't as burned on wrestling, they probably would have got better reactions at least.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. It just like with this show, it was a little bit of a roller coaster. There was some good stuff on it, and they reacted. So I guess honestly, regardless of where the company's at or what they've been doing or anything like that, when it comes down to the night of the show and you're at this one show and, it's almost like sports teams say, it's like we're focused on this game and the next game we'll get to after this one's over. Like, it's kind of like fans, like they're focused on that in the moment, no matter what else is going on. So if you give them something to cheer or to get into or to react to, then they will, as long as they're there.
Yeah. I feel like the only time, there were two times actually where things didn't go as planned. I don't feel like WWE got the reaction tonight they wanted when Strowman kept kicking out of the curb stomps. I feel like they wanted the crowd to come off a little more shocked sounding than they did. That's also a case of it being at the end of a 4-hour show. The other one was that horrible, shitty looking chair shot Becky Lynch gave the referee. That was laughable,
Yeah.
and I feel like you could hear the crowd laugh when that happened. And the fact that he was still laying down after an hour, it kind of made the crowd just kind of like, this is kind of a joke.
Yeah, that was those two good examples right there. And going back to talking about the Rollins and Strowman match, with your opinion, do you think that one, that there just wasn't a lot of crowd hype for wanting that match, and two, do you think it was just almost like burnout at that point from the rest of the show? That it just kind of fell flat?
I feel like it's actually a bigger problem that could actually be its own 2-hour fucking show in itself. I feel like and it's what a lot of people talk about. Quite frankly, yes, there's more talent there's ever been in that company, but that's going to bite them in the ass, and I feel like it's starting to. Some of these guys are outshining other guys because they have so much talent. Not every guy on the roster can be like a dream guy you want to be the champ. Like, and I feel like we get with like Ricochet, AJ Styles, Nakamura, all the like. Jesus Christ. And I feel like it's a case of that. And Rollins hasn't exactly been hitting out of the park on the mic, especially, and just how he's been booked lately. You can hear it tonight. People are definitely souring on him. He's kind of turning into a new Roman or Cena in a way.
And that's so bad, too, because he was such like they could have done so much with it, and he was like, crowd was so into him for the longest time, and then now it's just falling. It's almost like getting the titles the kiss of death. Like, it'll eventually just kind of fall off because they won't know what to do with you. And I'm personally not a big fan of the babyface Rollins at all. Anyways,
you just missed Jamie Noble.
Yeah, right. No doubt.
Don't lie to me,
dude. That run was great. I loved it. The chicken shit heel champion with the two guys, and I thought that was.
I was happy for Noble and Mercury because that's the most top billing they ever got in their career, and they made a lot of money doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Being thrown through cars and all by Brock Lesnar.
They did it so well too.
This generation's stooges, pretty much.
That's the kind of heel champion I like, and that's something that you can milk forever.
And you're so right, because they were on their way to making Rollins this generation's Bret Hart in a way when he was doing those fucking turmoil matches on Raw, those gauntlet matches when he was main eventing IC title matches with Ziggler like a year ago, remember? They were on their way to make, like, everyone was getting into Rollins. And he went from Bret Hart to Keith Hart.
And nobody wants to be Keith.
No, look, he still has his fans. I'm not saying that. It's not the same as it was a year ago, momentum-wise, I feel like, for Rollins. For fan support.
Yeah, and he's still, like you said, he's still really popular, and he's still one of the top baby faces. Absolutely, but, I don't know. Yeah, you're going to... They do a few things right with him, I guess, but it's usually more for like the merchandise sales stuff aspect of it, maybe.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't pinpoint and say it's this or that. It's just nothing's intriguing me about him at this point either.
And I feel like finally, and obviously everyone knows the Fiend ended the show. I feel like finally now that we're working with something. But that begs the question, too, coming out of this. And it's going to be asked, so people can go ahead and groan. But I feel like it needs to be asked. Is it too soon to put a belt on the Fiend? Because I don't. I feel like do it now. Why not? He's red hot. In a way, he doesn't need a title, but I'd still put a title on the Fiend.
Yeah. I would say why not, too. Just, I guess, depending on if it's helping the story along. And, just... There's so much they could do with that as long as they don't oversaturate it. I would say they could do about anything with it.
I mean,
it's not too much.
And you could still make the Fiend special because Brock came around every 3 months on Raw.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And maybe I'm being biased because I just want that slow build, do an Aleister Black Fiend match for the title at Mania or something in a boiler room brawl.
What? I think we just want to slow build to anything that's good. Like, just not having the same people on the show every time doing the same stuff. Like, just give me a little bit of space to make us want to see a match,
Yeah.
Or, like, hey, great, we're going to see this title match tonight that these guys have wrestled like 8 times already.
And the people they try to shake up, pal, and change up, can't pull it off. Fucking Bailey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What the fuck am I? How are you going to reinvent someone so well with Bray Wyatt, what you've done for his career and his character for now, and do the complete opposite with Bailey? You've done nothing. You've put zero effort into changing her appearance, her presentation, any of that.
You know what's funny too is I didn't know if she would have it before, but watching her, this alone, watching her ring interest tonight and watching the kind of heelish gab that she had going and kind of like the demeanor a little bit, it's like I think she has it in her too if they would just give her like a little bit of a bone to run with.
I got to give her credit. Some of her tweets, especially tonight, were on point. If we could see that on air, that would be great.
Yeah, I definitely think she can do it. They just need to help her out a little bit.
And by the way, Charlotte Flair, totally the new Big Show. How many fucking times are we going to turn face and heel? Totally the new Big Show with all the face and goddamn heel turns.
Yeah, I don't... you know what? If they didn't even emphasize it at all, she could just almost exist without even being either way, but they just keep pushing it both ways.
It's neither like, it's never a gray area. It's like either all the way far left fucking heel or all the way far right fucking babyface. And no, guys, that wasn't political. Mm-hmm. Please don't take it that way. I can't do politics. But she's either the most downright awful bitch or, oh, your brother died of an overdose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they can't find any middle ground with her. Which, like, again, she could just be the one that has really good matches and can work with any feud. But
then again, I look at the history books, and Flair, her daddy, is kind of booked the same way throughout his career. Babyface for no reason sometimes. Next,
they're going to cut her hair and have her be a gladiator.
And then she's going to sue because someone's going to call themselves a queen. What a fucking mess that is, huh?
That's a whole nother bullshit. Yeah.
What sloppy Ric Flair. Bad form. What are you doing? You think you're
going to... a lot. It's weird. He's been really sloppy lately on everything.
Apparently him and Charlotte not on good terms either over this.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently there's a rift, Drew.
Andrade?
No, not because of Andrade.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe you never know.
Maybe
like or something.
Racist Ric Flair.
Well, it didn't have to be very good. He could just be a prick.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's he's got no legs to stand on in that at all. I'm sorry, you're not gonna. Good luck with WWE's lawyers, especially.
Yeah. Is it funny that now? Was it Charlotte's ex that's now the NWA Tag Team Champion?
It's that Bram.
Are they together?
That's the one that Ric Flair had to break up the squabble.
And was he one of the ones that won that?
Think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, I'm keeping up. Yeah.
But yeah, Rick's always been hard up for money, but I didn't know he was that hard up for money. My God.
Yeah, I mean, the medical bills are... Who knows at this point?
But yeah, I guess hard up for money.
Signed an Adidas endorsement.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, why would Adidas sign him? For what? Like commercials, I guess. I don't know, but yeah.
All day I dream about... What would Ric Flair dream about all day? All day I dream about sex, pretty much.
That'll be his commercial.
There it is. Adidas condoms. Yeah.
What else did he was something about his contract, his whatever contract he has with WWE running out soon. I don't know if that was a true story or not, but then maybe him trying to push the. You know, can you imagine him now going out there and trying to push the market, like fighting over him?
Yeah, I mean, there's talks of him maybe possibly going to AEW. I saw.
Yeah, I'd be like, but I don't know how much they could do with him. You know what I mean? Like, unless it was just for like a hype guy, I guess.
He's going to be Michael Nakazawa's mentor.
Okay, I'll sign on for that.
Sign me up.
He can carry the
Yeah, he's the oil boy. Got your young boys and your oil boys. That's two totally different things in wrestling.
So it's something that you bring that up. It'll be speaking of that. It'll be interesting to see once they get rolling how much they'll lean on legend talent like that, and how much they'll shy away from it when it becomes too much of a thing. Like where they'll find that middle ground of being able to use it, but not being able, not making yourself only that.
AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that, and doing a hell of a lot better job of balancing out your goddamn roster where half the card doesn't feel like a goddamn high school indie show.
Yeah. That too. Apparently they have a lot more people, but who knows who signed with them.
And all these people like being put into witness protection, like Kylie Ray just disappearing, and that doesn't help.
Yeah. Just called and quit, apparently.
I've still heard nothing about that.
Mm-mm.
Crazy.
Nope.
Crazy.
I got nothing. All right, you hit a topic. I got nothing.
Yeah, me either. Got nothing. With that, speaking of, I got nothing. This Bailey heel stuff. I mean, the finish I was okay with because yes, finally she showed some chicken shit heel characteristics, but she just, sure. I don't think, I don't know if they want to, because she still pushes fucking merch like a goddamn. I see a lot of Bailey stuff on kids a lot. Like, I don't know if they want to lose that.
Tons. Yeah, and I think she could still be. They could balance it of her being a heel, but still retain all of that.
Just the Sasha Bailey stuff's already a mess again. I feel like.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with. Did you watch? By the way, did you watch the Sasha Chronicle deal?
I've watched half of it, and that was only because it aired directly after tonight. So I stuck around and watched half of it, and it was literally 15 minutes of Sasha Banks crying.
Is it just me, or did she like when she went out and was gone for a while? Did she have her sinuses cleaned out or something? Like, she talks normal now.
Right, yeah.
I find that to be... She doesn't have, like, that constant, my nose is plugged up.
Something I wish Seth Rollins would learn to get rid of, too, since we're talking about the nasally... I remember when he was a heel that John, oh my God.
Yeah. It worked as a heel.
Yeah, the Chronicle stuff, real quick. Look, if it's because she felt bad about injuring Paige and she went away and blah, 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 then what... I don't know. It's just so. It's so. I can picture so much of the rumors about her in my. I can just picture it, and she just from interviews I've heard with her, I could just totally see her being that kind of person. Not maybe to the extremes it was reported, like Ryan Satin and all those cocksuckers, but like just. I could definitely see the characteristics in some of these descriptions. But I don't know if it is that, and you know what? I gotta respect it. That's got to be hard, especially maybe her and Paige are really close too. That has to be rough to have on your hands in a way.
Yeah, no doubt, and especially if even if it's a combination of that and you're like burnout, like just from being on the main roster for that long, even with all the things are better for them these days with like vacations and bullshit like that, but just being at that status for that long and already the frustrations of just your job in general and then something like that and everything, it might have just been like the perfect storm of mental health breakdown kind of thing.
That, and we were talking about him a little bit off air, Drew, has the headaches and just the unneeded court shit and just all the stuff from the Punk situation when he left. Have they tried to avoid that with just letting talent do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think his kind of reaction to some of those questions during the whole StarCast deal where, like, talking about, like, his main thing, why he left being that he was just wanting some time off and he could not get it, and now, like, if a talent is, something is going to affect their job and their performance if they don't give them a little bit of a break. And on top of that, not only with the paychecks getting a little bit higher, but giving people a break so they don't feel like they have to go elsewhere when their contract expires and they're comfortable where they're at.
It's the changing of the old guard, that 7 days a week, twice on Sunday mentality of fuck it, you get out there and you work, you make your shots. No, those days are pretty much done in that company. They have these wellness programs, and it's like a legit like AAA sports team or some sports program, conditioning programs, shit like that,
Yeah, exactly. And that's, it's good smartening up. Like,
And look, she looks great. She looks like her batteries are fully recharged. She looks the
mm-hmm.
the best she's ever looked. She's definitely hit the gym. She's bulked up. I did not hate, and people believe this twice in one show. It definitely is the beginning of a new era on September the 16th, Drew. I'm complimenting Sasha Banks twice on an episode. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I was surprised already.
One of the best matches tonight was Sasha and Becky. There you have it.
Well, I think that's the thing we forget too with her, especially before. I mean, compared to a lot, her ring has always been really good. Like, she can have a good match, and she obviously like has a passion for doing it. So, I mean, just if her head's on straight, she can do some good things, and the booking's, decent.
Yeah. Bailey did the exact opposite. Her fucking leg was worked on the entire match. The entire match, pretty much. And how did that match end? Let's do a fucking Carl Lewis 50-yard dash.
Yeah, that's always fucked up.
But you're right. When Sasha gives a fuck, it's just like Punk we were talking about earlier. That's also something we didn't mention either. Not just to heal her injuries, but to give a shit again. Because on Chronicle, she said she was at Mania this year and she felt nothing, and that was the sign, the final straw.
And think about it this way, if they smarten up even more, what they'll be doing is giving their talent more time off and bigger breaks in between things. And what that's going to do is get them off TV, get other people on TV, swap them in and out a little bit, and, break down some of this, the same people on the show every week over and over again. Like,
yeah. And Banks' dance partner tonight, Becky Lynch, total victim of that. We've seen her every fucking week.
Every week. And the whole her and Rollins thing, I'm like, you had like the hottest female overall, I mean, she's a female, but the hottest overall talent in the company right now, like this big out of nowhere thing. And it's like they were like, God, we got to knock her down. We got to get her down lower on the roster. Like, it's like they were trying to.
Dare I say, I feel like they salvaged it by just cutting the shit a little bit before it was too late. But I feel like they were damn close to letting it be this year's Lana and Rusev when she went with Ziggler, and it just fucked everything up for Rusev and Lana's character.
So awful. And where are they at?
Yeah. Speaking of returns, speaking of people going away and coming back, Roman Reigns, Eric Rowan, a match that I didn't even know was booked on this fucking show until it was going on, and I was just looking at Twitter, and I was like, yeah, whatever match I watched before this, Drew, I was like, yeah, it was all right, and I was like kind of curious what was next, and I heard that, I was like, the gut of my stomach kind of sank. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's weird because you see any singles match higher on the card with Eric Rowan in it, you're just kind of like, really? Like, and you expect it to be, I don't know, I guess they're trying to do something, and they must have that finish in mind, and that's the only reason I can think to want to book it like that.
Drew, is it me or is Eric Rowan's new theme from Doom?
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it. I don't know if I like it yet.
I don't know if the Titantron works. It's kind of like this, for anyone that hasn't seen, it's like this bright neon green. It looks like an old arcade game, like the frame of the, but it's not actually the whole, I don't know, it just didn't fit. It looked like an army radar or something.
Yeah, because they got to try something else new with him, apparently.
Biggest problem with this match, for me, I'll say it didn't deliver. I think the problem with this, we just saw a tremendous match like this, a month or so ago with Strowman and Lashley, which delivered. I loved that match. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I really enjoyed it, and it couldn't follow that, and this didn't. It didn't work for me. I don't know about you, Drew.
No, there was nothing about it that I found entertaining, or it was just there. Like, it was almost like the match was literally just there so they could do the ending.
It was okay. It wasn't dog shit. It was a house show match. It was a house show brawl. The table spot wasn't even that great. Yeah, it was all right. The power bomb with Rowan, with two Roman through the table.
On top of that, the ending wasn't even like, oh, okay, he's back, and then whatever.
Yeah, we were talking earlier how, yes, I was excited and unexpected. I look up from my fucking phone, or no, my Switch, because I really couldn't, I was at this point, I was playing Mario Maker with this show. Look up, and there's Luke Harper, and I got excited, and I'm like, wait a minute, Amon Amarth? What? He's wearing a metal show. Okay, he's back. Because I didn't know he hit Roman at first, so I thought maybe he would attack Rowan. But then I saw, oh, Bludgeon Brothers are back. And then my excitement went from, yeah, fuck yeah, Luke Harper to, okay, now what? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's WrestleMania last year again now, the Bludgeon Brothers.
Is Daniel Bryan even involved? Like, is he a part of this still?
How do you feel about Harper being back?
Eh. I wish he was back in a better capacity because I think he could be something good, and he looks like he's in fantastic shape, but this is just the same thing again. These two guys, cool, okay, you're putting those two guys together again, and the storyline makes no sense. Awesome. Keep it up.
And I feel like he's just going to be an afterthought within a month again, honestly.
They're going to be on TV next week, and nobody's going to care. I guarantee SmackDown, it'll be Roman Reigns against Luke Harper, and then what? Like, this is going to lead to Daniel and Bryan and Roman, and nobody will care by the time it gets here? Like,
is Luke Harper going to do that Cajun accent again like when he was the IC champ?
Oh.
Whose fucking idea was that?
I remember when it was him and Ambrose feuding, and every match looked like it was like a drunken fight at the trailer park.
I did not mean to make fucking Luke Harper sound like Jerry Jarrett, by the way. That was not my intent. Luke Harper.
He likes chicken salad.
That could be their new tag team name, not the Bloods. Just call them Chicken Salad and Chicken Shit.
Chicken Shit and Chicken Salad.
Mm-hmm. Call them the Hen House. I don't know, man, but I wouldn't recommend the Roman match. And as far, I'm just like you. Now what with that? And I guess we'll see. I was surprised, and it kind of put my foot in my mouth because I was bored out of my fucking mind that Randy Orton was in a WWE title match in 2019. I've been bored out of my fucking mind through most of this Kofi reign. That's no fault of Kofi's. Because I feel like in the last 5 minutes of this match, Kofi truly delivered, and I was kind of floored that they gave Kofi the clean win. But look, I should have seen it coming with how much they've been building this 10-year feud. He gets his closure. So there you go.
They still got his finisher over again, too. Like,
yeah.
Finally, that's a finisher. I don't think anybody's kicked out of it after one yet, have they?
No. And I feel like he needed this because tonight, no reaction for Kofi at all for his entrance or anything.
No. And like you said, like the last 5 minutes, and I actually liked the final sequence before the pin. Like, that was all really good, but it was just like the rest of it was like, oh yeah, this match we've seen before again. And because of the quote unquote, and this isn't every match by any means, but quote unquote WWE style, if you have two guys like them and they've wrestled 3 matches, there's only so much they can do. Especially
since they've been wrestling since 2009.
Yeah. So if you're expecting these guys to get in the ring and have another title match and have something different, then okay.
Everything's going to be just fucking null and void anyway when this other draft happens, so who knows who his opponent's going to be. A lot of people are saying the Brock rumors to SmackDown, which I get it. He's one of the original SmackDown 6 in a way too, so there's that.
Oh, and then the cringe-worthiness of, did you notice when Orton went right before he dropped down to do his, whatever his little snake thing is before he does the RKO, the pounding on the mat thing. The crowd was fucking silent.
Yeah.
And it made it look like he was just like, when he was on the ground doing that, I was like, dude, get up, you look so stupid.
Do you remember back, like, it was like 10 years ago now, where he was like pumping himself up and he injured his shoulder hitting the mat?
Yeah.
No one ever remembers that. I'm glad you do.
I mean,
the crowd, they were kind of picked up by the end of it, but that was only because of like 3 high spots.
Like after that. Yeah, it was
right,
after
yeah.
He kind of got into it. I was like, they just need to go across the board and shit can some of that kind of stuff because it just looks stupid. Like, I know he's been doing it for years, but it's over. Like, don't do that anymore.
A lot of it does. Man, it's so different. A lot of these guys are just programmed and told what to do before they go out there. There's not a lot of, I'm gonna tell my own character. Like, I'm gonna tell my, I don't know how to word it here. But the agents and shit backstage are putting together their matches for them is basically the underlying statement for that. And I feel
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
detrimental to just progression in general, being a worker.
yeah, I can see that.
Because you know who was told that back in the day, back in the
And
glory days? You know who was told to go out there and what to do in a match? The fucking job guys.
yep, yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They could probably still do a couple job matches, right?
The Monkeys, bring them back.
Yeah. You know, the ones they were having with like Strowman and Nia Jax right before after the last brand split, those were effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people it just works, and some people it's like, who the fuck cares? Pretty much with any draft.
Yeah, that's good.
Nia Jax, I feel like she's probably due back any day.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, I'm not clamoring for a fucking return or anything, but you know.
I hear you beating down the door.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually boycotting watching main roster until Nia's back on my TV.
Should be the champ immediately.
And 2K19, I've already made the Ultimate Dream match with her versus Nyla Rose.
Nyla versus Nia.
Yeah. What a tag team that would be. My God.
Holy crap. The man, I don't even remember their nicknames, if they have them.
One's the Beast. I think Nyla's
Beast.
the Beast. I can't believe that's not trademarked, especially with the Ric Flair stuff.
Yeah, right. Oh, it will be.
Yeah.
It'll be Ric Flair that's trademarking it once.
It'll be cease and desisted in about a month after it's on TNT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anything noteworthy left from Clash of Champions really sticks out to you, Drew? What didn't we really cover? We talked a little bit about the tag match. I mean, the Revival had belts again. Are they going to keep the stable with Orton? Because I'm kind of digging it. Why not?
I'm okay with it because I think they fit well together and they don't really have anything else that great going on. Fuck it. I'm always a big fan of stables anyways, as long as they fit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll end up like, why not Survivor Series and just have the 6-man New Day against those 6-3 or whatever. Sure.
I feel like a stable can never hurt a guy you're doing nothing with.
Yeah.
At least it's something.
You do a sense to like have all the titles on the line or something.
Mm-hmm. Something. Anything at this point with some of these guys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What was the shining moment of this show? Not match of the night or anything, but what was your favorite part of the show? Besides King Booker, because that was everybody's favorite part.
Yeah. The Fiend is always going to be a favorite. The Revival, I really liked that match compared. And like I said, the ending of the Kofi Randy Orton, like, you know, a solid ending with a clean pin, like with a finisher that gets over. Like, I'm always going to be a fan of that. Really, other than that, I mean, I missed one thing I can say. I wish I did, but I missed the Cedric Alexander match. So I'm not sure how good that was. But
I was bummed that Gable and Corbin wasn't tonight because I thought it was, unless it got changed.
Yeah, they must be sticking at the Raw.
Tater Snake is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, right.
My God. Making that boy wait.
Damn it, Gable.
No, I'm still kind of blown away that they've gone all the way with Gable. I mean, maybe they're going to finally fucking do something with Chad Gable. It's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I hope so, because he's good in the ring and he's getting better at everything else. So, like, why not just give it a shot? And worst thing that'll happen is it doesn't work, just like everything else. So,
and he looks like $1 million too. He looks like Mr. Fantastic.
You know what? If anything, send him over to NXT and he can wrestle Adam Cole and Gargano.
And that whole awesome. Now you got guys in storyline and just talent just not even giving a shit about going to the main route. Like you had Gargano spell out NXT this week, like Brett did with WCW, and his character on the mic after he attacked Adam Cole was like, "I'm not going anywhere." So he's sticking around.
It's a death wish at this point, probably, for those guys to get called up.
Yeah. How bad do guys like No Way Jose want to go back?
Oh, yeah. Except it's funny too because once they're called up and they're there, like you're ruined. Like, you can't even go back. It just won't work.
Tyler Breeze might be an exception, but we'll see.
Might.
He's kind of the first test of that, in a way.
Yeah, that's true. And Tyson Kidd, he was pretty successful at it
Yeah.
back when.
God, that was forever ago. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's like
It was a little different then, too. The Ascension was like the best team, so.
Adam Rose was an up-and-comer.
Up-and-comer. God. We should go review some of those sometime.
Cheap plug. Check it out on the channel. Reviewed the first ever NXT TakeOver about 2 months ago.
Hell
so
yeah.
there you go. Boom.
That's awesome.
Cheap plugs are awesome. This has been
Always.
awesome. It's always good to have you back, Drew.
Yeah, man. And I know we've been talking, but this is a show that in many forms is going to keep going and evolve and become something for wrestling fans to love.
Lots of blueprints being worked out. Lots of actual plans on the horizon. Lots of spin-offs, all kinds of goodness.
Yeah, so just keep your eyes and ears peeled, and as always, visit ProWrestlingJournal.com, PW Journal on Twitter, Kayfabe Today on Twitter, @Jortman on Twitter, PW Journal on Instagram.
I don't even have to ask you to plug your shit anymore. You just do it. Look at that. It's called Wavelengths, guys. Boom, there it is. As always on Twitter @the Hibiki TMD. This was Clash of the Champions, but I'm still confused. There was no beautiful Bobby, Lex Luger, Sting, no Steiners. And I paid for this. How was this a Clash of the Champions show?
Do you remember that one where Luger came out of the thing and hurt Sting's knee, and then he had to fight Rick Rude for the U.S. title at the end of the show, and it was awesome.
I know one thing. This show would have definitely been must-seen had it featured Ranger Ross. Until then, guys, never drew a dime. See you then.